People really appreciate what you do. And on behalf of the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, I would like to thank you as well. The fact that first responders all over the state are saving lives, connecting people with treatment, and ultimately getting them on the road to recovery is absolutely essential. If at the end of watching this video you happen to have any questions or any unresolved concerns, there are resources listed where you can learn more. Again, thank you for the time that you're taking to assist Ohioans every day. Be safe.
Once again, I start by saying thank you for all your work in helping people, helping Ohioans deal with an addiction, an illness, a disease. I recognize that your task is not easy and that you might have already started to experience some burnout, asking yourself why? Why should I care? Does it even matter? I'm here to encourage you. And as you have seen on the previous video, your work is making a huge difference in many lives. That is why it's so important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, both mentally and physically, that you do not let these diseases impact your lives both personally and professionally. Developing work-life balance is important. It is important for you, your family and loved ones, your coworkers, friends, and associates. It is so easy for us to fall in a rut and to let things occurring at work impact us both socially, mentally, and physically. Later in this video, my coworkers Deanna and Steve are going to share with you some helpful tips to help you stay in balance. Addiction does not discriminate. It transcends all races, gender, and socioeconomic classes. It impacts every sector of society. Churches, businesses, schools, law enforcement, and social services. This list is never ending. Addiction's arms are ever extending. Traditionally, we have thought of frontline workers as law enforcement, fire, and EMS, but this disease has made us redefine the front line. The front line is you, but it's also now our schools, clergy, teachers, emergency room personnel, our child welfare workers, our treatment providers, family and friends, anyone who might have experienced someone overdosing and had to either call 911 or administer Narcan. We must continue to equip our frontline workers with resources and supports to assist them in helping turn the tide on this epidemic.
I'd like to talk to you about why it's important to take care of yourself. Oftentimes, we think about taking care of others and we forget about ourselves. Just like a flight attendant tells us when the oxygen mask drops down to make sure that we put it on ourselves before taking care of someone else. You have to remember to take care of yourself or you're not going to be effective taking care of others. It's stressful work that we all do, and especially with this opiate epidemic, our hours are long, and oftentimes we don't get the thanks that we deserve. With that, you have to make sure that you are putting yourself first and that you actually plan time to take care of yourself so that it doesn't impact your life and your work. It's important to take care of yourself because when we don't, you can fall into illness or into disease. Oftentimes it starts with not being able to sleep well, or having increased anxiety about what it is that you're doing, or just in general. Making sure that you plan time to take care of yourself, not just when the opportunity arises to do something for yourself, but actually putting it on your calendar and purposely taking care of yourself or doing an activity that will. For me, I read every night, not something that is work-related, but fiction. So I make sure that I have that into my schedule, and my family is aware that that is something I do for myself, and they allow me to do that. I know that several of you are volunteers and you have a passion for helping others. You wouldn't be doing it otherwise. And making sure that you're taking care of yourself so that you can succeed in what it is that you're doing by caring for others is important. But again, remembering to schedule that time for yourself, making sure you're eating well, making sure you're sleeping well, just so that you can be the best that you can be in helping someone else. I recently spoke with a first responder and she told me that she's available 24/7. Her phone is on her bedside table and she answers within 5 minutes. I reminded her that taking care of herself is important, and she was taken back by that. But again, this epidemic has put us in a situation where we have to be able to get up out of bed or leave whatever it is that we're doing at a moment's notice. Having that kind of stress takes a huge toll on yourself, and making sure that you are not getting overwhelmed by that, making sure you're setting parameters for yourself so that you can be the best person that you can be in helping. The last thing that you want to do is get burnt out or become ineffective in how you're helping others. And one way that we can certainly do that is to take care of ourselves. So when I told her to make sure that she's taking care of herself, she was very surprised by that perhaps someone would care enough to think of it in that capacity and not just realize that that's her job, because that's the way she sees it. It is her job. She says all the time, that's what I signed up for. This is what I do. So making sure that you're taking that time is important, and allowing someone else to take care of you is also important. Oftentimes in our role as first responders or as those who are caring for others, we don't want someone else to take care of us. We realize that that's our role, and we don't allow someone else that privilege. Step back and allow your family or your friends to serve in that capacity, to care for you, and to let you know that you are important, not only for what you are doing to help others, but for you as a person as well. Self-care is the intentional practice. Again, like I said, you make sure that you put that on your calendar. It seems silly, but for me, if I don't put something on my calendar, oftentimes it doesn't happen. It's overlooked. It's the easy thing to slough off or to let go aside. Make sure that you're doing something. You know, it's different for everyone. Some of us like to exercise. Some of us, it's having that one-on-one time with your spouse or with someone that you love. Perhaps it's just having a silent time where your phone's not ringing or where you don't have to answer 25 questions in a minute. Making sure that you are doing that not only will help you mentally and emotionally, but it will also help you physically. It allows you to let down your guard, to not be on call all the time, and to just be you. Sometimes just being is more important than taking care of others.
Hello, my name is Lieutenant Steve Click with the Ohio Assist Program, and I'd like to talk to you for just a few minutes about why should we practice self-care. Well, first and foremost, improved health and wellness. The idea is that we want to make sure that we're healthy, that we're in a good place, that we're able to handle the stresses and the things that we have to do on a daily basis. We also want to increase our self-confidence. It's important that when we go on the road and we handle the type of situations that you folks handle on a daily basis, that you have the confidence in your training, your equipment, but that mostly you have the confidence in yourself to be able to handle those things both at the time and to be able to handle them after the fact. We want to have good coping skills. We have to be able to handle a variety of things, including a lot of stress that's coming at us, a number of things that are happening, and we have to be able to handle those while making sure that it doesn't take too much of a toll on us, so that way we're still there for our families and we're there long after we're not doing this job anymore. We want to make sure that we have a good balance between work and life. Let's never forget this is a job. We understand it's a calling. We understand it's so much more than what some people may look at as a job, but it is just a job. And at some point down the road, you're going to go on to do something else, another chapter in your life, and you want to make sure that you've struck that good balance while you were doing this. So that way, not only do you have a successful work career, but that you still have a successful life to go back to. We want you to have good perspective. Understand that just world belief that we all kind of come into this line of work with sometimes is challenged. And it's important that we have a good perspective on being able to address those things that we can deal with, and also understand that those things that are out of our power, and know the difference to make sure that those things don't overtake us and take too much of a toll on our lives. So what are some of the possible ways that you can take care of yourself? Well, first of all, one of the best ways is to exercise regularly. Now, if the furthest you've ran in the last 10 years is from the couch to the refrigerator, back to the couch during a commercial break, next weekend's probably not a good time to sign up for a marathon. If that's your goal, if you want to do a marathon, if you want to do an Ironman, if you want to start riding a bicycle, if you want to start doing those things, start off based on your current levels of fitness. That doesn't mean that no matter where you are that you can't get there. But if you go right out and you try to lift the stack, or you try to go out and you try to run too far, or you try to overexert yourself, in addition to all the stress that you've already got going on, now you've possibly added a physical injury. And that's only going to make things worse. You might have to miss work. It might cost you some money. Just make sure that you're doing it on a regular basis and that you're doing it in a safe way. Anything's better than nothing. If you have questions, make sure you consult your physician before you start an exercise regimen. Make sure that you're doing the exercises properly. Get training from somebody that knows how to do those things and can show you the proper way to do them so that you can do them safely and you don't hurt yourself. One of the biggest problems that we have as Americans, and especially as first responders, is a lack of sleep. 2/3 of our people work afternoons or work midnights. They're trying to go home in the morning. They're trying to sleep. It's a beautiful day. They've got court. They've got other responsibilities. They've got family things they want to do, so we don't get enough sleep. Sleep is so vitally important, especially after a critical or traumatic incident. It can't be overstated. One of the biggest impediments to sleep is blue light, be it televisions, cell phones, iPads, whatever. You'll get folks that'll sit and they'll binge watch The Walking Dead, and then they turn everything off and they wonder why they can't go to sleep immediately. You know, our bodies are designed to seek out light. So if our cell phone's laying next to the bed, even if we have the alerts turned off, if that screen lights up, our body senses that and suddenly that's disturbing our sleep pattern. If you don't have to have the phones in the bedroom, don't. If you don't have to have a television in the bedroom, don't. Make sleep a priority. So many of us think that sleep's just an option, and it's not an option. Especially after a traumatic or critical incident or a series of incidents or just overall through your career, it's important to eat a healthy and well-balanced diet. I've tried to convince people for years that, candy and fast food is a regular diet, but that's not true. Especially right now after something like this has happened, you need to try to eat as healthy and a balanced a diet as possible. Who knows? Maybe in the long run that will become more of your lifestyle versus just something you did in the short term. It's going to benefit you. It's going to help you deal with the stresses and the challenges that you're facing. And again, who knows? It might make you feel better down the long run. Please make sure you give yourself a break when necessary. None of us can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wide open. We think we can, especially when we're young. But you need those breaks. You need a break away from work. You need to take some time off. You need to spend time doing the things that you enjoy while not necessarily worrying about work. Leave the work cell phone at home sometimes. Don't listen to scanners for those folks that still do that. Don't hang out at the department on your time off. You need those breaks from the job. You need that downtime from constantly being on edge, constantly being worrying about what's going on. You need those breaks. Avoid the overuse of alcohol and caffeine. Here's the problem. If you want to have something to drink, if you want an adult beverage and you want to sit and relax and you're not dealing with a problem with alcohol or caffeine, you just want to have a relaxation, do that. Don't have a lot of it. It's okay to have a glass as long as you don't have a pre-existing condition. It's not okay to drink the whole bottle. You want to make sure that we're not self-medicating with alcohol or any other types of drugs. The problem with that is you think it makes the problem go away, but it doesn't. The problem is still there, and all too often alcohol and drugs create a whole new set of problems, which just makes the earlier problem much worse than it originally was. Another technique that some folks might use is meditation or yoga. It helps some people. Some people enjoy the relaxation part of it. Some people enjoy the stretching part of it. Just sit in a room, have a few minutes of peace and quiet. Don't have the television on. Don't be sitting there texting on your cell phone or checking your social media. Just take some time to yourself. Maybe it's take a nice quiet walk. Just go somewhere where you can just enjoy the peace and quiet. You're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about some of the problems that might be going on in life. Anytime, but certainly after a traumatic or critical incident or a series of those traumatic or critical incidents, it's important to have fun. Do those things that you enjoy. If you like writing music, if you like playing music, spending time with family, spending time with your dog, ride your motorcycle, ride your bicycle, do woodworking, whatever it is that you enjoy, it's important that you do those things. All too often we get so tied up in what happened and we feel we have to stay focused on that all the time. We never understand it's important that we have fun, that we have something to look forward to, that we have something that we do for ourselves. Especially as first responders, we spend so much of our time taking care of others, whether it's our coworkers, whether it's the public that we're there to serve. We never give ourselves a chance to take care of ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, we don't have that little bit of fun playing with the kids, going out and having fun with friends. We're not going to be any help to anybody. You got to breathe. You got to take a second to just relax. Everything's going to take care of itself. You don't do anybody any good if you're running 100 miles an hour. You're not taking that time to breathe. You're not taking that time to think. It's important to sometimes just dial back a little bit. Think about what's going on. Think about the best course of action. Kind of weigh out your options and then make a well-informed decision at that point. Otherwise, we're just rushing headlong into things, and that's when we get in trouble. Alone. All too often in public safety, we think we're the only one. We're the only one not sleeping. We're the only one being cranky with our family. We're the only one having nightmares. We're the only one that ever felt this way, and we're the only person that this ever happened to. The reality is this. We can find folks that have been in exactly the same circumstances. The location might have been different. The individual's name might have been different. But the simple fact is, somebody somewhere has been through what you're dealing with. You're not alone. There are people out there who can help you. There are people out there that want to help you. You need to remember you're having a normal reaction to an abnormal circumstance, and you're not alone in that. Your reaction is your reaction, and it's perfectly normal, and it's okay for you. Acknowledge when you're feeling stressed and burned out. If you don't, a lot of other people won't. Don't get defensive when those around you and those that love you are telling you that you're feeling burned out. They're sensing a stress level in you that is unhealthy. They're only looking out for you. They're not criticizing. They're not questioning you. They're trying to look out for you. And sometimes we have to admit that, and it's very difficult. None of us wants to admit that we're not able to be Superman and we're not able to do this all the time. But it's important that we acknowledge when we're feeling burned out. I cannot guarantee that anybody that you talk to outside of your family is going to be able to help you. What I can guarantee you is this. If you don't talk to someone, it won't get better, and it will almost always get worse. Talk to a coworker, talk to a supervisor, family, friends, clergy, somebody that you know has your best interest at heart and that you trust, that will be honest with you, because sometimes we need to be told some things maybe we're not too happy about, and we have to be told things that sometimes maybe we weren't perfect. But it's important that we get that information from those people. It's important that we talk those things out. Be very careful who you talk to. Please, please, please stay off social media. First of all, no one cares. Second of all, you put it out there, it's out there forever. And while you may have felt that way at the time, somewhere down the road, maybe you don't feel that way anymore. And the last thing you want to do is have something that you put on social media at a time when you were particularly angry or frustrated, coming back and it never seems to go away. It might be when you're testifying on the stand. It might be when you're up for promotion. It might be when you're up interviewing for something. Please be very careful about that. Talk to those people that you know and you trust. Ask for help when necessary. I often tell folks if my patrol car doesn't start and someone sees it on the back of a record, no one will think twice about it. If I fall going out of a building and I fall and I break my arm, nobody thinks twice about the fact that I go see a doctor, and they don't expect me to set my own arm. Ask for help when it's necessary. That's not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's just the opposite. For you to go to somebody and say, look, this is a little out of my area. This is a little out of my area of expertise, and I'm going to need help. It's not long-term, it's not forever, but it lets the folks around you know that you're taking your own health and your own well-being seriously. And seek out the help of those folks that know what they're doing. Be careful about who you go see. Ask folks, hey, who do you know that might be in this area? Go to people that you trust and let them help you. We as first responders want to help people. That's what we do. Let other people help you. They want to make sure that you're healthy and safe also. Just like you would be there for them, let them be there for you. Take time to care about yourself. You're important. You can't help your family. You can't help your coworkers. You can't help the public if you're ill, if you're stressed out, if you're on disability because something's happened and you're not able to work. You're not helping anybody now. So it's important that you take care of yourself. Take care of your physical well-being. Take care of your mental well-being. Take care of the way you eat, exercise, de-stress. All the things that we've talked about are important because it's taking care of you so that you can continue to take care of others.
We hope that through this video you've been able to gain a better understanding of why it's important to take care of yourself. And maybe you've even learned a new tool or two. Consistent self-care is central to preventing and reducing stress, and most importantly, helping you to avoid burnout. It's vitally important for you to be taking care of yourself so that you can be and stay well in all areas and aspects of your life. And we recognize that this is not the natural inclination of many first responders or frontline individuals. Your natural inclination is to take care of other people. Well, we want you to rethink that. Not that it's not important. The work you do is so important. But we know that in order for you to continue doing that work on a regular basis, You have to be the best you can be. You have to be healthy, both mentally and physically. We also know that it's just as important for you to be mentally and healthy when you go home. We don't just want you to think about work. We want you to have the best overall life that you can, and to do that, you have to take care of yourself. Now, some of you may have watched this video and feel, you know, I need more help than this. So following this are some additional links to places where you can go to get help. Additionally, if you need more than even what's on those links, feel free to call Steve Click at the State Highway Patrol. Feel free to call the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services at their number and ask to get help. There are people at both the state and the county level. Call your local county board. We want to make sure that you have the help that you need to stay well and be well. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a strength. Recognizing that sometimes we all need a little assistance makes us all stronger in the long run. So along with Tracy, Fonda, Deanna, Steve, and myself, let me thank you for all that you are doing to help others and encourage you, please take care of yourself.